Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to the Iron Bars, my true crime YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. So guys, we are about to embark on the Thabo Bester trial, which is starting on the 21st of February 2024 in the Bloemfontein High Court. In case you did not know who is Thabo Bester, this is a man that put together an elaborate escape from one of the maximum prisons in South Africa. Actually, it is doomed to be one of the safest and unescapable prison in South Africa. Well, guess what? That went through the window the moment Thabo Bester escaped. So basically, how did Thabo Bester escape? He basically brought in a dead body. Of course, working with prison warders, he was paying them very handsomely to put together this elaborate plan. Well, Thabo Bester was declared dead in his cell after his cell caught on fire and a body was found in the cell, only to turn out to not be Thabo Bester, because Thabo Bester, when he left the prison with the assistance of his doctor girlfriend Nandipa Makutumana and the prison wardens, he went and lived a lavish lifestyle, living in a multi-million-dollar mansion in Sandton with his girlfriend, with her two daughters. And so how was he caught? He was caught because he and his girlfriend went shopping to Woolworths in Sandton. Somebody who was a fan of Dr. Nandipa Makutumana, because Dr. Nandipa Makutumana was also a public figure. She did aesthetic clinic or something like that. And so these ladies saw her and thought, oh my goodness, my friend loves this woman. She takes a picture of the doctor together with the man that she was with. And then she goes and shows her friend that, look who I saw at the mall today. It is your favorite doctor, Dr. Nandipa Makutumana. And so when this girl looks closer, she's like, but I was told that the man she's with died. This man is the one that forced himself on me. Now, one thing about Thabo Bester, he is also convicted to 65 years in prison for murder, as well as forcing himself onto women. So the women that lost the doctor and the friend took the picture of the doctor, showed this girl, and the girl happens to be Thabo Bester's victim. He forced himself onto her. Of course, she had to take action, but when she took action, there was already action going on behind the scenes, because one of the organizations that evaluates prisons was told that Thabo Bester has escaped, and the body that was found in the cell purported to be that of Thabo Bester is actually not Thabo Bester, but somebody else. And so internal investigations took place. Some people were suspended, others were fired, or whatever the case was. And subsequently, the hunt for Thabo Bester was on. Immediately when the picture of his was published, that picture that was taken by the girl was published in the newspaper, he and his girlfriend, Dr. Nandipa Makutumana, they were nowhere to be found. And so the manhunt was on. So the manhunt took place for a couple of weeks or so, because eventually they were apprehended in Tanzania, a country up north of South Africa, and they were basically caught near a border gate into Kenya. Nobody knows where they were headed to, but I still believe they were headed to Nigeria. Other people said they were headed to Dubai. I don't know. I think they were just headed somewhere where they will be like a needle in the haystack. And the only place I could think about was Nigeria. And I think as well, they were also looking for a place to hide where the law itself is easy to manipulate, or at least to corrupt with money, so that they are not given up. So of course, on the 7th of April 2023, they were flown back to South Africa. And there are other legalities that were the states, I believe myself, ought to have followed, like extradition treaty and things like that. Instead, they deported them from Tanzania to South Africa. Dr. Nandipa Makutumana actually challenged that whole process, that she felt that she was kidnapped from Tanzania because no extradition processes followed before she was brought back to South Africa. So as far as she's concerned, she was kidnapped. A whole high court process took place, but before the high court process took place, she actually abandoned her bail application because she had an ace up her sleeve. Of course, the high court eventually, when it heard her case of kidnapping by South Africa from Tanzania, she was found that she did not protest in Tanzania when she was being fetched by Home Affairs. She did not indicate any way or anyhow that she is being taken against her will, things like that. Instead, she said that she wants to get back to her children. As a result of that, even though the court does agree that extradition processes did not follow, but because she did not protest, she came on her own will. That is why she lost that particular application. She appealed, and the appeal also was denied. So from what I understand, she now has appealed to the Supreme Court of Appeal because the court accused said that indeed extradition processes did not follow. However, from her own mouth, she told the officials, which I think is also hearsay, she told the police that, the Home Affairs, that she wants to go back home to her children. So as things are building up to the trial, Dr. Nandiro Makutumana turned on her boyfriend Thabo Bester and accused him of basically being a violent human being towards her, and she was afraid of him, basically throwing Thabo Bester under the bus. However, before she did all of that, their last court appearance in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, they looked like lovey-doveys. They were looking at each other with puppy love eyes, and they were smiling at each other. You could have sworn that that was the epitome of love. But of course, we had to slap ourselves in the face and remind ourselves that these people are accused of heinous crime. One of the heinous crimes that they committed is the death of the man that was found burnt beyond recognition in Thabo Bester's cell. And we now know that his name was Katlego Bereng. Now, Katlego Bereng, when the autopsy came, it said that he had died from a blunt force trauma. Now, the story around his death is a little bit sketchy. Some people say he was found dead in the city of Bloemfontein, and then his body has been lying in the government mortuary for months. And so Dr. Nandiro Makutumana went and claimed the body as that of Thabo Bester, whom she says was her customary husband. So the story is pretty much a mess. So the members of the Mangaung Correctional Center, which happens to be a security company called G4X, about 7 people that worked for this particular company were the wardens that assisted Thabo Bester to escape. They are now co-accused along with Thabo Bester. They're ranging from accused number 1 all the way to about accused number 11. Out of, there were actually 12, 2 were acquitted. One was Nastasia Janssen, whom the court felt that she was not involved in any way in the escape of Thabo Bester. She did not know. There is no evidence that shows that she was involved. The second person, I think the same thing was found about him, that he was not involved. However, there are people now that will be lined up in the Bloemfontein High Court that stand accused of aiding and abetting the escape of Thabo Bester. I think other charges are added, which also includes that of violating a body and things of that nature. So now we're going to hear the full charges once the trial actually commenced on the 21st of February 2024. And definitely I'm going to be bringing that particular trial to your attention because it's going to be one of the biggest trials in the country, second to Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, which I am currently following in my main channel, Clantis Dumagude. Anyways, there are a lot of explosive exposés that are coming out about this particular prison that Thabo Bester escaped from. The corruption. I call it a crime scene in that correctional center. It's unbelievable that you would call that a maximum prison, because one of the accusations or findings of things that were taking place in that prison is that prisoners, they did not have a curfew like all other prisoners. A prisoner, whenever they felt tired, they will go and open their own cell and go in and sleep. When they're supposed to have the control times like any other prison, if it's 2 o'clock is lock up, it's lock up. If 9 p.m. is lights out, is lights out. But not in this particular prison. Prisoners did as they please. There are accusations of prostitution that was taking place in there, money laundering, you name it, it was done in that prison. How? Only goodness knows, and we are going to find out more details as things unfold going forward about this particular prison. I say close it down. That's all. Then, of course, Thabo Bester's mother once again made it onto the news. Basically, she spoke to the news, ENCA exclusive. Thabo Bester's mother wants nothing to do with trial. So basically, Thabo Bester's mother, Macy Bester's DNA, confirmed that Facebook, the guy that forces himself on other women, Thabo Bester, was alive, but she escaped the chaos and media frenzy of this trial, so she may now be called to testify in her son's case. Wow, I didn't know that. Bester and 9 other faces charges ranging from fraud to violation of a corpse and arson. They have been served with a 50-page indictment and a list of 132 witnesses. Wow, that's a lot of people. So basically, that is what the small headline is preparing us about the trial that is about to take place. And then I found another article on News 24, which I am not subscribed to, by the way. I hope I will still be able to see the article, what it says. Okay, I think I can. So basically, this is News 24. It says, the headline, still no sign of accountability from Correctional Services Department on Thabo Bester's escape. Of course, why should they? Right? This is South Africa. It has been 8 months since the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services held a 2-day hearing into convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester's prison escape from Mangaung Correctional Center in May 2022. Since then, very little has happened to hold the authorities and their private sector partners to account. In April, Minister, top police and prison officials, representatives from Integrated Solutions and a multinational security company G4S, which runs the Mangaung prison, faced tough questions from members of parliament about Bester's escape and subsequent investigations. MPs appeared united across party lines, promising to hold those responsible accountable for their mistakes. During the hearing, committee chairperson Bulelani Mangwanishe suggested that G4S acted with gross incompetence. The company's officials are currently facing criminal charges. MPs had harsh words for Integrated Solutions, the company that maintains the CCTV footage at the prison, for failing to timeously investigate its official, Tebogo Dipulu, who had switched off the CCTV cameras in the prison several times at the time of Bester's escape. The South African Police Service, SAPS, was criticized for its slow investigation, including that it never questioned or questioning or surveilled Nandipa Makutumana, Bester's alleged accomplice, and for not informing Bester's RPing victims that he was on the loose. The Department of Correctional Services, DCS, was astonished for several instances of incompetence and for waiting 11 months before admitting to the public that Bester had in fact escaped. There was even a call for Minister Ronald Lamola to resign. And yet, despite this public show of accountability in action, as Chairperson Mangwanishe described it in closing the April hearing, there has been little accountability. Promises by MPs to call further witnesses and to produce the report for debate in the National Assembly have not materialized. Minister Lamola had not resigned. Only 3 officials from DCS have been suspended. the controller and deputy controller at the Mangawong prison, and the director of contract management. Asked by Ground Up about the status of the disciplinary processes, the nature of the charges, and whether the suspended officials were still being paid, DCS spokesperson Singabako Ngumalo replied, "We cannot divulge to the public internal disciplinary processes, as those are between the employer and employee." Ngumalo said he was not aware of disciplinary processes against any other DCS officials. The DCS final investigation report into Bester's escape is apparently complete and has been given to relevant bodies, according to Ngumalo. But Ngumalo did not answer directly whether the portfolio committee had been furnished with the report. Chairperson Mangwanisha told Ground Up that the committee was not in possession of the report. The Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services confirmed to Ground Up that neither was it in possession of the report. Asked whether any policy changes were being considered to ensure accountability and prevent something like Bester's escape happening again, Ngumalo said that because the criminal case against Bester and his alleged accomplices was ongoing, we will prefer not to engage on policy changes. As for national security company G4S, DCS has moved to cancel its contract due to expire in 2026. Bloemfontein Correctional Contract, a company contracting by G4S and in which G4S has a 20% share, owns the prison and has challenged the decision to end the contract. Mediation attempts have failed and the matter is now in court. Among the revelations that the April parliamentary hearing brought to light were that Bloemfontein Correctional Contract and G4S withheld evidence from SAPS and maintained that Thabo Bester was dead despite having evidence to the contrary. G4S originally only suspended and dismissed 3 of the almost 30 officials on duty the night of the escape, but 7 G4S officials were later arrested. 4 are still facing criminal charges, including corruption and helping an inmate escape. No senior officials have been held accountable, of course. South African Police Service did not respond to Ground Up's questions on whether any police officers have been held accountable for failing to timeously and efficiently investigate Thabo's escape. By July 2022, 2 months after the escape, South African Police Service knew that the person whose body found in Bester's cell had not died by suicide, that Makutumana was closely involved in the matter, and that the DNA of the body did not match that of Thabo Bester's biological mother. Yet, it was only in March 2023, after Ground Up's expose, that a track and trace team was set up to find Bester and Makutumana. Makutumana was never taken in for questioning. The house in Sandton that she shared with Bester after the escape was never surveilled, and important investigative steps such as identifying the body found in the cell took place only after March 2023. The case of Bester, Makutumana, and 10 others have been charged has been postponed several times for further investigation. Charges against 3 of the accused have since been withdrawn. The trial of the remaining 9 accused will start in 2024. As we know, this is starting on Wednesday, the 21st of February, 2024. So basically, those are the updates and a little small background of where all of this started. So Thabo Bester did escape around the 3rd of May, 2022. And 11 months later, he was caught because of that photo. Talk about fate playing its role, right? Because if that girl did not take that picture and showed it to the girl who was actually violated by the murderer, where will we be today? Only goodness knows. Anyways, guys, that is all that I wanted to bring to your attention, that the build up to Thabo Basta's Great Escape trial is starting on the 21st of February 2024. But I think that is going to be postponed to a later date because there are developments that are happening, and I'm thinking this is going to warrant a postponement until all these investigations have been compiled and submitted to the National Prosecuting Authority for now a solid date for the trial to start. But we'll see on Wednesday how it all goes. I'm going to be bringing it to your attention as it happens. Okay, not as it happens, after. When I come back from work, I will watch some footages and then I will bring them to your attention to update you on what transpired. Other than that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please do not leave this video without liking, sharing, and leaving a comment down below. And let me know, what do you think of the Thabo Basta matter? Do you think Thabo Basta is going to walk free? Do you think he's going to be convicted? What do you think about the Mangaung Correctional Service Center, if it is a maximum prison at all? I'm very much interested to hear your thoughts on that one. So let's see each other again next time. Goodbye.